Good morning, you guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So, I want to talk to you guys today about being in what you guys are calling an isolation period or being isolated, right? Because in my experience, there is such a thing as being in I'm not going to say a isolation period, but there is such a thing as being isolated, right? Or separated. That's what I'm going to say. Um when you have been separated from everything or everyone around you, right? In my heart, I believe that when you're in separation, that can look different for everyone, right? It's not always the same. Like, God may separate some people from like a habit, like something that you do all the time, like from watching TV, or like, you know how some people when they fast from television or social media or just different things, right? So I feel that when God separates us, he separates you from certain things that have your attention, right? And I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit of my story and how I came to realize that I had been set apart from everything that was around me. Like, I still realized that it was around me, but I had actually been set apart from it. So maybe about I don't really know how long ago it was. It had to have been about 2 or 3 years ago, right? I had two very strange incidents happen, and they happened back to back, right? So I was driving my car down the highway and the tire popped off of it. Like, the actual tire popped off, right? So when that happened, I was like, okay, that was a little strange. I didn't get hurt. Um, it just tore like the side of my car up, right? After that, my car was impounded. I went because I had to go do a client's makeup. I went to go do their makeup. Then I was going to go back and get my car. By the time I went back to get my car off the highway, it was gone. It was in the impound. Lost my car, right? After that, maybe, I don't know if it was weeks or months went by, right? And my son had to go to an orthodontist appointment. And I just remember calling my sister and I was like, hey, can I use your truck to take him to his appointment? And my sister said yes. So I called a Lyft to my sister's house to pick up her truck. And I get there, I get in the truck and I'm driving it, and I get on the highway again, and it starts making this noise. And when it's making this noise, the first thing that clicked in my mind, I'm like, it sounds like the same noise that my car was making when my tire flew off. But I'm just like, okay, maybe I'm just paranoid, because after my tire flew off, I had been kind of scared to drive cars, right? No, I wasn't. I heard what I heard and I knew what I knew, because shortly after that, my sister's tire on her truck popped off. Now, it's funny now, but at the time I was like, what is going on? Like, I just knew. I'm like, somebody is doing something. Like, somebody is just trying to hurt me. Like, Lord, they trying to get me. They trying to hurt me. And I'm knowing that I hadn't done anything to anybody for somebody to be trying to inflict pain on me like that. So I said, okay, it's something else going on. Me and my sister had a real bad falling out about her tire popping off her truck. So after that, I got another car. Now, mind you, all this happening in the same 1 year. So I got another car. And a few months after I got that car, the transmission went out. And I'm like, now at this point, I'm like, okay, Lord, what is it? What are you trying to tell me? Because I don't understand, right? At that point, I had zero understanding. I'm like, Lord, I first of all, I just knew it was somebody doing something. So I'm in my mind, I'm like, Lord, get them before I get them. Because at this point, I'm tired of it. That's how I felt. I'm just like, I'm tired of it. It keep happening. I don't know what's going on, right? So when my transmission in my other car went out, I had no choice but to sit down, right? I had absolutely no choice but to sit down. And shortly after my transmission in my car went out, my mom moved here from Michigan, right? She came and moved in with me. And in the process of her moving in with me, I was like, okay, I could just work, and save up money to get another car, right? But this is how the Lord will separate you, and when he wants you to sit down, he will make you sit down. Like, there's no other way around it. When he wants you to sit down and be still and hear him, he will cause everything around you to go haywire, and you will have absolutely no choice but to sit down. Okay? So once my mom moved here, I was trying to just work, use one of my mom's cars to work just to save money to get me a car. But I promise you guys, every time I went to work, it was like so much going on within me, mentally and spiritually, that I couldn't even stand being at work, right? It was like how I told you guys about Saul, like when God anointed David to be king, right? He caused the anointing to fall on David and leave Saul, right? And Saul was being tormented. So every time I went to work, I felt like that, like my neck right here, like no lie, my neck would be hurting so bad, like somebody was just taking it and pressing it like nonstop. It was like I was seeing certain things. It really felt like I had no business being there, right? And all I was trying to do was go to work to save money to get a car. But every time I went, it was really like I had no reason being there, and I could not stay. Like, no matter how bad I knew I needed to stay or I wanted to stay at work, I spiritually could not stay. So I had went to work so many times, and I ended up leaving early because it was like I was really being like tormented at work. And if you, I don't know how to explain it, but if God called you, if he came and tapped you on your shoulder, you know what I'm talking about. Because when he wants you, he gonna get your attention any kind of way that he can. I promise you. So I ended up not being able to go to work because I'm like, okay, every time I'm going up in here, you stayed reminded me that I'm not supposed to be here. So I'm gonna sit down because at this point, I'm spiritually tired. Like, it wasn't a physical tired. My spirit was tired, right? Because I was wrestling. I was wrestling with God, and I had no idea who or what I was wrestling against. I just know we was tussling, and he was kicking my tail. Okay? So I sat down. I said, well, Lord, if you want me to sit down, I didn't even say that because I didn't know he wanted me to sit down. But I just knew I couldn't go to work. So I said, okay, well, I can't go in these nursing homes. So what am I going to do about money and about a car, right? Because at this time, I still didn't know. He was getting ready to he was setting me apart. I didn't know that. I just knew everything around me was getting strange. Y'all, it was strange. It was like I was in foreign territory, like I had no business being where I was at. So I sat, and I started doing makeup from my house. And I started, one day I said, in July, it took me a while to understand, right? But mind you, I had been praying, I had been fasting, I had been doing everything because I was like, something is not, you know, when things around me started to go like berserk, because that's how I felt like it was going berserk. I know that it's something that I'm missing, right? But I was always moving too fast or trying to help someone else with their issues. And I wasn't really paying attention to the fact that God was calling me, right? I wasn't even listening to God. I was so busy trying to fix everything else around me, or everything that was, yeah, because it was so much going on around me. I was just trying to fix everything, right? So I had my hand over here, over here, over here, over there. And meanwhile, God is like, hey, I'm trying to talk to you. Hey, I'm trying to talk to you. Hey, I'm trying to talk to you. And I wasn't hearing none of that, right? So I sat down. I said, okay, I'm going to just do what I can from home. And in July, I was just like, okay, let me just open my Bible and read it, right? So I felt like I tussled for like, it felt like 2 years, right? I was just tussling back and forth, back and forth. And in July, when I started reading my Bible, it was like everything started to make sense, right? And I could understand what was going on, or, you know, I just knew like God was calling me to do something else, right? It was a reason why I couldn't go into the nursing home, or it was a reason why certain things around me was happening the way that it was happening, because I was not paying attention, right? But I still did not understand or realize that I had been set apart until a couple days ago, right? Now, a couple of days ago, me and my aunt, my older sister had a birthday, right? So my aunt said, hey, I want to go by your sister's house and take her some flowers for her birthday and this, that, and the third. And I said, okay, I'll ride with you. You know, we can go over there and I can go see my big sister. Mind you, I had not seen my big sister. I didn't know how long it had been, right? And this is the crazy part to me, because when God sets you apart, God has no knowledge of time. And neither do you. When God calls you and separates you, you are really going to be unaware of how much time has went past while you were spending time with God, right? So I go with my aunt to my sister's house. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, my sister lives in this apartment over here, right? And my aunt's like, no, she moved. And I said, no, she didn't. Last time I saw her, they lived in this apartment down here. And my aunt said, baby, they moved to a different apartment upstairs. Now, by this time, I'm frustrated because I'm like, now I know last time I saw my big sister, They stayed in this apartment downstairs. Y'all, when I tell y'all, my sister had moved, right? She had moved. And I had not physically saw my sister in a year. In a year. And when I asked my sister, I said, how long y'all lived over here? She said, we've been up here for about a year. I said, a year? She said, yeah, we've been moved here like a year ago. I said, my God, I had no idea. And at first I felt bad, because I was like, what kind of sibling am I if I didn't even know my sister moved? But then I was like, I could not feel like the Lord wouldn't allow me to feel bad about it, right? Because he had set me apart. He had taken me away from everything and everyone that had my attention, right? Or anything that had my attention more than him, right? And although it had been a year, it was like I could see my sister on Facebook or this and the third. I texted her a couple times. I really had no idea of how long it had been since I had physically saw my sister, right? Because I see her on Facebook, or I see her through different apps, or I text her. But once I realized that, I really understood that God has He has no knowledge of time. And when he calls you and he sets you down for a purpose, he needs your full attention. So you don't even think about the fact that you're lonely, or the fact that you're by yourself, or any of those things, because you don't feel lonely, like you're in the presence of God. So none of those things really matter. It's been a year that I've been spending time getting to know God and letting him piece me back together, right? Because I was so busy trying to fix this person, or fix that person, or fix them over there, or fix them over there. And meanwhile, I was in pieces, like in little bitty crumbs. So I had to be set apart for him to fix everything in me that had been ripped to shreds, right? And for me to come back and be better for the people that I love, right? Because I'm no good to anybody else if I'm no good to me, right? So that's what I wanted to tell you guys. When you are in an isolation period or being set apart, you are not gonna have no recollection of time, being lonely, or anything like that. You just gonna be spending time with God. And then you're gonna be like, one day, it's like he gonna reveal to you, like, I had you hidden. It's like he hides you for a little bit, then he bring you back. And one day, it's like, it's just gonna be like, I had you put up for a minute so you could learn, so I could teach you, so I could grow you. And then you come back new. Right? You come back new. That's all I can say. You come back a new person. Because that's how I felt. I was like, my goodness, like I had no idea that I had not physically seen my sister in a year. That was so weird to me, but I normally I would have beat myself up about it, but I didn't, because I knew it was something that I had to do for me, right? God was calling me to do something new, right? Something new, something different, something my family had never seen. And I couldn't ignore it. So I had no choice but to obey what the Lord was calling me or telling me to do, right? Because I couldn't do nothing else. Because everything else was going haywire. So I sat down and I listened and I sat with God and I got in his presence and I got to know him. Y'all, I'm getting to know him. Because he already know me. But it's a difference. I saw this video. The girl was like, it's different when you choose God, but when God choose you, baby, it is something altogether different. When the Lord come and tap you and say, you, it's your turn, come on. It's something altogether different. It is. But I trust him. I trust him with every bone in my body. Right? I just want to share that story with y'all. Just to give y'all an insight about when you're in an isolation period. Baby, you're not going to know how long you've been there. What you've been doing. You just going to know you've been spending time with God. And before you know it, a year done gone by, 2 years, 3 years, 4, 5 years. Right? That's all you going to know. But I love y'all and I hope y'all have a blessed day.